Okay, let's start with a pretty staggering number. What if I told you that a full 90% of your company's innovation projects are pretty much doomed to fail? Yeah, 90%. And look, that's not just some scary stat I pulled out of a hat. For a ton of businesses, it's the stone cold reality. It's actually a symptom of this much bigger, kind of hidden problem that's going on behind all the flashy innovation labs and hackathons. So, yeah, let's get into it. So, in this explainer, we are going to pull back the curtain on why so many of these corporate innovation efforts just fizzle out. We're going to talk about this thing called innovation theater. But more importantly, we're going to lay out a really clear roadmap for how companies can stop performing and start building a real, sustainable engine for growth. All right, first things first, we need a proper diagnosis. How can you tell if your organization is just putting on a show? Let's take a look at the most common signs. So the core problem has a name: innovation theater. It's all about looking the part, running workshops, launching pilot programs, generating all this buzz, but without actually creating any real value for the business. It's the illusion of progress without any of the impact. So what does this actually look like day to day? The first symptom, and this one is huge, is something called pilot purgatory. This is where really promising ideas go to die. A project shows potential, it gets a pilot program, everyone gets super excited, and then nothing. It just stays there, completely trapped in this endless loop of testing, and it never gets the money or the support to become part of the main business. And then you've got the demo trap. This is when an innovation team creates this beautiful, slick demo that looks absolutely incredible in a PowerPoint presentation. The executives are blown away. But the second it has to face real-world data or heavy user traffic or, actually connect to the company's other systems, the whole thing just falls apart. It was built to impress, not to actually work. And finally, symptom number 3, vanity metrics. This is when a company measures success by activity instead of results. Hey, how many hackathons did we run this quarter? How many ideas did we generate in our portal? These numbers give everyone this false sense of accomplishment while the company isn't seeing any real return on investment, in things like revenue or cost savings. So these symptoms, pilot purgatory, the demo trap, vanity metrics, they're all just signs of a much deeper problem. So let's move on from the symptoms and actually diagnose the real disease. So what's the one thing that connects all of these issues? It's not a lack of great ideas, and it's definitely not a lack of talented people. Nope, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of what innovation truly is. Okay, this slide right here, this is the absolute heart of the problem. It really boils down to two totally different ways of thinking. See, most companies are trapped in what we'll call a project mindset. For them, innovation is just a series of isolated short-term projects. You do a thing, you launch it, you move on. But the companies that are actually winning, they have a capability mindset. They're not just doing projects, they're building a muscle, a sustained long-term strength. Let me put it this way. A project company might launch one flashy app and get a bunch of buzz. A capability company builds the internal team, the skills, the whole system to create and improve an entire family of amazing digital products year after year. So the real question becomes, how do you build that capability? Well, you do it by finding and empowering the right people. So let's talk about the heroes of our story, the folks who can actually drive real, meaningful change from the inside. They're called intrapreneurs, and these are your employees who have that same fire, that same drive as an entrepreneur, but they operate inside the company. They're the ones who are constantly looking for ways to make things better, processes, products, you name it, even when it's totally outside of their official job description. They just see a better way, and they have the grit to build a case and make it happen. And this table really shows the key differences perfectly. See, unlike an entrepreneur who's risking their own cash, an intrapreneur's financial risk is super low. The company is the one investing. Plus, they have access to a treasure trove of resources, money, people, data that a startup founder could only dream about. Now, the trade-off is they have a bit less freedom and usually less direct financial gain, but their potential for impact at a massive scale is just enormous. So what makes a great entrepreneur? It really comes down to 3 things. First, perseverance. You have to be able to navigate what people call the corporate immune system, that natural resistance big companies have to new ideas. Second is curiosity. They're always asking why and what if. And third, critical thinking. They know how to break down complex problems and build a logical, evidence-based case for their vision. But just having a few brilliant entrepreneurs running around isn't enough. You have to build a system, an engine that actually supports them and helps turn their ideas into real value. Let's see how that gets built.
The biggest mistake companies make is they stick their innovation teams in some separate lab or a siloed R&D department. Real, lasting success comes from embedding innovation capabilities directly into the business itself. It has to be part of the company's DNA, not some separate, isolated organ. And hey, there are proven models for doing this. For example, ambidextrous organizations create these separate, protected units just to explore new business ideas. This lets the core business keep doing what it does best, while another team has the freedom to go after disruptive concepts. Then you've got venture boards, where you bring in both internal and external experts to guide investments, kind of like a VC firm. And finally, innovation councils are made up of senior leaders from all across the company who can align strategy and just smash through roadblocks.
And this isn't just some academic theory. I mean, just look at this chart. Back in 2005, the list of the most innovative companies had giants like 3M, GE, Nokia. Fast forward to 2021, and a lot of them are gone, replaced by companies like Amazon, Google, and Tesla, all absolute masters of building these systemic innovation engines. It's a powerful reminder that getting the structure right isn't just a good idea, it's a matter of survival. Okay, so you've got the right people and the right structure. What's next? You have to look outside your own four walls, because the future of innovation is not happening in a closed room. This brings us to the idea of open innovation. The old way of thinking, if we didn't invent it here, it's not worth our time, that's completely dead. The new model is all about understanding that great ideas and valuable knowledge are absolutely everywhere. The companies that win will be the ones that can find that knowledge and integrate it, whether it comes from a university, a startup, a customer, or even a competitor. And as we look ahead, you can see on this slide there are some key trends shaping this open future. Let's just quickly walk through them. First is AI-assisted ideation, using AI to spot emerging trends in data that a human would totally miss. Second, ecosystem orchestration, which is about building and managing whole networks of partners, not just having one-off deals. Third is the quadruple helix model, which is this deep collaboration between industry, academia, government, and society to solve huge problems. The final three are about strengthening yourself from the inside, fusing your digital transformation with the ability to absorb new knowledge, building out a corporate venture arm to invest in startups, and having a relentless focus on business model innovation, not just new products. Which brings us right back to where we started. This quote from Tendayi Viki just says it all, doesn't it? Having the tools and the titles of innovation is totally meaningless if it's not integrated, strategic, and laser-focused on creating tangible business outcomes. So I'll leave you with this one question. It's really the only one that matters. Are all the innovation activities in your company just a performance? Just a show designed to look innovative? Or are you actually building the people, the systems, and the mindset to truly, authentically build the future?